I'm about to go in. I run it up in the right kind of What? Nigga. Shit so fucking hard. What? Side to side, I've been swerving and the fag, I've been surfing and the fab out the pen. Now a nigga work around the platform and chirp around the clock, nigga surfing and the spag, trying to pen. I love my nigga.
Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy, Atypical Security Guard. I want to welcome you to today's stream. Today, we're going to be talking about staying cool under pressure, how private security has equipped me to navigate one of the worst phone calls of my life. Guys, you never think that you're going to come on and, well, you know, in some regards you do, because, you know, a lot of the instructional information, a lot of the teaching, a lot of the training, you know, the vast majority of that is structured around what I go through in security, what I go through in terms of training, what I go through in terms of, you know, trying to develop myself as a better security guard, better security officer. So it's probably par for the course that what we're going to talk about today revolves around a situation that I dealt with this week. So getting right into it, this past Monday, my beloved Copper, my German Shepherd, half German, half Belgian Malinois mix, unexpectedly, and after 2 years of loving loyalty, of being a great family pet, being an amazing guard dog to our family, to our home, he unexpectedly attacked my wife. And when I say this, it's important to be transparent and be open and honest when I say that what he did and his intention in terms of what he did to her, it was horrific. She will be disfigured for the rest of her life. She has a very long road of recovery in front of her. And, you know, it was a very traumatizing situation for her in the moment. I'm sure that it will continue to be traumatizing for her moving forward. And this is very difficult for our entire family, you know, dealing with the entirety of the situation. So getting that out of the way and saying that on camera, and also being transparent with you guys that this has been a very difficult week for both of us and for our entire family, dealing with what we have gone through and what we will continue to go through moving forward as she heals and recovers. It kind of made me think back to when I got the phone call. I was working on Monday at my normal post location. You know, the week before we had this crazy ice storm, you know, wasn't able to get to work a couple of days. And, you know, I put a lot of time into my schoolwork, just getting my schoolwork done. And so was happy on Monday to be back at work, you know, back in the routine, back in the swing of things. And right before lunch, I get a phone call. I answer it, and it's my wife, and she's frantic. And, you know, if you are in a relationship with a partner, if you have children, you know the call that I'm talking about, where when you answer, the voice on the other end is signaling to you that things are not okay. We all know that tone. We all know that that level of urgency, right? And so that's what I'm hearing on the other end of the phone. And so she's so frantic and she's so, you know, scared and terrified that I can't really make out or understand what she's saying. And then I finally hear the words, "Copper attacked me." And then she says after that, "My lip is gone." And so hearing this, it didn't register. It didn't make sense, because those two things don't go together, number one. And those two things in our reality are not something that I would ever expect to hear, right? Number one, that Copper, our dog that is legitimately has been here for protection, primarily for her, would have attacked her. And then how do you respond to someone when they say, "My lip is gone," right? And so, like anybody, I ask her, wait, what? And she reiterates to me, Copper just attacked me and he bit my top lip off. It's gone. And I don't know how she was able to compose herself. And in the moment that she's telling me this, a lot of things kicked in. We talk a lot about training. We talk a lot about the importance of being able to handle certain moments when we're working as security guards. And generally, the moments that we're talking about are moments where we are going to need to be that protector. And we're going to need to be that guiding light for the people that we are in charge of watching out for at that post. But our job as security guards, it's from 9 to 5. And when I say 9 to 5, I mean in general, right? Our job as protectors of our family, it's 24/7. And so in that moment, the training that I had always thought was important for me in terms of being good at my job 9 to 5 kicked in for me to be able to be the protector and the presider in the situation that is most important, which is husband 24/7. So looking back on Monday and thinking about the things that we have gone through, where we are today, 72 hours post that situation, I thought to myself, what were 5 things, if I could talk to the people that are watching these videos, if I could talk to the younger guards, anyone, what would be 5 things that I could say were apparent to me that were security related in terms of what I have learned over the last 3 to 4 years that I put into practice in order for me to effectively convey to her what I needed her to do in that moment and how to calm the situation down and notify family members in the moments that followed. All of us, anyone who's watching this, anyone who has a partner, anyone who has children, anyone that has parents, we are all going to have this phone call. This particular phone call came to me on Monday. Your particular phone call might have happened months ago or years ago. But we can all rest assured that each one of us will get many more of these phone calls in our lifetime. Ultimately, someone is going to make a phone call about us at the end of our days. And as long as we are husbands and fathers and parents, we cannot in our daily life break down when these situations arrive. We have to be a guiding light, and we have to be a presider of our flock and our family. And we have to be able to manage these situations. So today we're going to be talking about these 5 things. Let's get right into it. And these are the 5 things that I've thought about, that really played a part into being able to calm this situation down. Before we get into the 5 things here, hang on a second. Coffee. When I got that phone call, one of the first things I told myself was just slow down. And I tried to get that across to her. Hey, slow down. Take a deep breath. I've often told you guys, when you get that phone call for service, you're working at a retail establishment, you're working at a location, you're on a site, and something has happened. Most people, when they contact you, they're contacting you in a panic or frantic fashion. And I see a lot of security guards that tend to run directly to the fire, whatever the issue is, whether it's a hands-on situation, it's a violent situation, it's a robbery, whatever it is, because our first instinct is to solve the problem. But if we rush into the situation, we overcommit, we get too close, we come in too hot. And I didn't want to do that situation with my wife because I could already tell that she was so panicked. So one of the first things that I did was tell her, hey, calm down, take a deep breath. And while telling her that, I'm telling myself to slow down. That's crisis management experience. All of us who work in private security, sooner or later, you will deal with a crisis. Working in security, it exposes all of us as individuals to various crisis situations and emergencies. This experience helps build resilience and the ability to remain composed. You're going to, when you work in this environment, deal with all kinds of problems. Everything from the average middle-aged, middle-class mom that can't find her keys. Maybe she can't find her kids. You're going to have people that get locked out of their cars. You're going to have people that are in fights in the parking lot. You're going to have people that are overdosing, people that have found someone who's overdosed. And for some of you, you are going to respond to robberies and homicides. The longer that you work in this environment, the more things that you're going to see. And what the great thing, if you can say that there is any great aspect of all of those negative things that I have just named, it helps to build resilience. We have to be resilient in our job. It's something that they are looking to the guy with the uniform, with the vest, with the gun to be the person that calms the situation down and handles the threat. We talked about last month arming teachers and putting security guards in schools. Why? Because those are the soft targets that people who are looking to create the most egregious havoc seem to go towards the most, right? And it's only through resilience as officers that we are going to be able to answer that threat. And that is so important. And it was so apparent to me that that's not just something that we're working on, that we're building so that we can be good security guards. That resilience is important in our everyday life, and it's important to our families, our wives, and our kids. And if they're old enough, our parents, they need us to be resilient in that moment when everybody's freaking out. When everybody's scared, when everybody's worried, when everybody's concerned, you have to be the one that is resilient enough to help lead towards the solution. And I don't know in my past life, guys, if I can be 100% honest with you, I don't know that I recognized that or had that ability. It's only because of the last 4 years that I handled this situation with the poise that I was able to handle it, because it was extremely scary and it was extremely devastating and extremely shocking. But because of the things that I have dealt with, all of those things that I listed out, I had the resilience to do what was needed and get my wife to the hospital and get my ass there to help her go through what she was going through. Number 4 is effective communication. Effective communication. Security professionals often need to communicate clearly and confidently during high stress incidents. These skills translate well to handling difficult phone calls. That is so true. When someone called me to respond to a homicide, my first thought process was to put this person at ease. Before going into that parking lot, before approaching that vehicle, before dealing with that situation, I wanted to make sure that I effectively communicated what I needed every person in that store to do, where I needed people to be, who I needed to contact the police, who needed to do what, when, where, how, and why I needed them to do that. That's effective communication. Starting this YouTube channel and having videos like this, talking to you guys, articulating to you guys all of the things that we go through in terms of training, in terms of being better educated, being better able to do our job. That is effective communication. And in increasing the ability for me to communicate with you guys, I found on Monday that I was able to better communicate with my wife, with the nurses, with the doctors, and more importantly, with her family, all of the people in her life that were concerned and worried. I had to be that person to make those phone calls. And how do you communicate to someone? How do you communicate to a father that his daughter has been maimed? How do you communicate to a mother that her beautiful daughter has been disfigured? How do you do that? There is a level of understanding of communication, of understanding how to say that, how to share that information with people, that you only get by practice. And where do we get that practice in security? Interacting with people at every level, the bad people, the good people, the contractor, the supervisor, all of the communication that goes into writing an effective report. Guys, it seems trivial, but I am telling you that these are things that will develop you as a total human person. And if you look deep enough in situations that you're dealing with right now, you will see where it overlaps with what you're doing on a daily basis. If you're taking your job seriously. Now, for some of you, if you're not taking your job seriously, if you're not living it, then maybe it doesn't make sense to you. But I live it. The firearms training, the self-defense, the communication, the interacting with people, situational awareness, that doesn't turn off when I leave the job. It's 24/7. And I appreciate that because I saw the value of that. Okay. Number 3 would be quick decision making. Security work demands making rapid decisions under pressure. This skill becomes valuable when responding to urgent phone calls or emergencies. And where I saw that play out was my wife explaining to me what had happened, that she had contacted the ambulance, that the ambulance was on the way, and the decision making that I had to make in terms of how was I going to address this situation. Talking right to my partner and letting him know what was going on, right? Immediately. Talking to her on the phone, talking to him on the radio, finding the manager of the store that I work at and communicating to her in very concise language what my wife was experiencing, where I was going, who she needed to contact from my company so that she could be covered moving forward for the rest of the day. Contacting my supervisor as I'm in the elevator going to the car and letting him know what's going on. Clear, concise, and short. And then having that ability to make that quick decision on where I was going, how I was going to get there, and to do so slowly so that I didn't get myself into a wreck as well, right? Now, also for this, I think it has to be said, quick decision making has to go to my wife. She relayed the story to me that the dog had attacked her. She quickly punched him to get the dog off of her. And as she ran to grab a towel to cover her face, which now was bleeding profusely, the dog comes after her. And I think that he had this moment where maybe he wasn't sure of what had just happened. And so she says that she looks at him and she says, copper kennel, which is the command for him to get into his kennel. And he just kind of looked at her and she says, copper kennel. And he growls and starts to snarl at her. And she said that she reared her foot back to kick him and he cowered and he ran towards his kennel. And she knew that she only had this opportunity to lock that door behind him. And she quickly follows behind him. And as he gets into the kennel, she locks the kennel. And this is all while losing tremendous blood. But she made the quick decision that she had to do this right here, right now, because short of doing that, if she were to pass out, what could potentially be the situation? And then having the wherewithal to make that phone call. So in terms of quick decision making, that's something that she displayed amazingly. Number 2, adaptability and problem solving. Without getting into the written definition of adaptability and problem solving, I'm going to tell you guys, one of the first things that my wife and I talked about on Monday, once she came out of surgery and we're in recovery and we're dealing with this new reality, we had a conversation very early on that this is where we are. We were upset. We were in shock. We were traumatized. But at the end of the day, this is where we are. This is the new reality. The situation has happened. The situation has happened. We don't know what set Copper off, but based on his actions, he was turned over to the county. And what the county does with him moving forward is between him, the county, and God. And as devastated as I was to lose my best friend, to lose that guard dog, to lose that family member, my allegiance is to my wife. And the important thing is her health and her recovery. And we can't dwell on any of the negativity. What she looked like before, what has happened, what is potentially happening to the dog, what we're going to do going forward, none of that matters. Reality is reality. And I think a lot of times in security, a lot of times in general, we don't operate from reality. Now, she and I could both sit here and wish and want things to be different. We could plead with God that what has happened hadn't happened. We could beg that things go back to the way that they were. They're not. And I think that her and I understanding that and accepting that and operating from where we are right now is the absolute best thing that we can do in that situation. And in any potential situation that you're going to deal with in security or as a man, that is a amazing place to be able to operate from where you are, not where you want to be. Contracts, they start and they stop. Jobs, they come and they go. Supervisors will be there and they will leave. In some areas, your ability to carry a firearm or not carry a firearm, right? And a lot of times when things happen in our environment of working in security, we get very upset. I know that I'm that person too. I'm that guy, right? I'm a right fighter. I hate when things change for no reason. I hate when things change without any explanation, when things stop abruptly. I don't like it. Most people don't. But being able to understand where you are and operate from that position, we will do so much better moving forward in our job and our life if we can do that quickly, as opposed to taking a lot of time to get there. Okay. Family wise, our family, we can't afford to wish for things to be different. We are where we are, right? Number one, and quite importantly, the most important aspect of what I've learned, what I've developed, and what I want to share with you guys. It's an emotional regulation. Security personnel learn to manage their emotions while dealing with confrontations or emergencies. In my entire life, my biggest issue has been my inability to regulate my emotions. I am a very emotional person naturally. I'm a very empathetic person. I take on the problems and the negative feelings, the emotions of the people that I care about. If you're somebody that I care about and you're going through something, I feel that. If you're somebody that I love and you're in pain, I'm in pain as well. Right? If someone does me wrong, I can be extremely vindictive and petty. Right? But in situations where you are the responding person, whether that's at work or in life, whether that's as a father, as a partner, you can't be a wave. You have to be a steady, calm water. Because in that moment, when she's dealing with everything that she's dealing with, I can't also be emotional. Someone has to be the lighthouse. We can't both be out in the water, right? And that goes for working as well. When you're in situations where everything is falling apart around you, someone has to be the steadying force. And most of the people, regardless of if they tell you this or not, or if they publicly agree, because you're not a police officer, you're not a law enforcement officer, but best believe when shit happens and you're at that location, they are looking to you. And you can't break down. And you can't freak out. And your family is looking to you. And you can't break down. And you can't freak out. So take the things that you're learning, the things that you're training for those worst case scenarios, those active shooters, those robberies, those break-ins, all of the things that you guys are putting into motion in terms of developing yourself as a better guard, as a better officer, and know, if nothing else, And this is one of the areas that's so important, because a lot of you tell me, you say to me, I don't see a point in what we're doing. I have no purpose. My job doesn't mean anything. I'm just standing there. Then take everything that you're doing, everything that you're learning, everything that you're training, all the stuff that you're watching on YouTube, all of the things that you're thinking about in terms of which firearm is best, which vest is best, which plates are best. Think about all of those things and take that into account for yourself and your family. Think of yourself as training. Think of yourself as being paid by Allied Universal or whatever company you're working for to be a better presider over your family, that you are being paid to train and to learn to be better for the day that comes, that something is going to be needed from you to protect or preside over the people that you care about. If you feel that what you're doing right now in private security doesn't matter, that you're just there because it's checking a box, that you're not important enough and that no one needs you at your location, then think about what you're doing in terms of every aspect of being better and put that into effect with your family. And I think that if you look at it through that prism, if you look at it through that lens, you will see the value that security is bringing to your life. It's in the title, security. My wife said when she was going to the hospital, all she wanted was to know that when she got there, I was going to be there. She wanted that security. Her family has said, the way that you handled everything, the way that you communicated to us, the way that you took charge, we felt secure with you there. It all overlaps. And I would be remiss to say that now that my guard dog is gone, it hit me. It was never his job to be the security at home. It's my job to make sure that the house is secure and that my wife is protected. And that goes far beyond anything that we can bring into this home or that we can place in between her or the people on the other side of the door. The security that this home needs comes from me. And it's a mindset. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of being. So we're going to be all right. Okay. I wanted to share that with you guys. Let me get these comments in before we get off of here. I got a haircut appointment in like 45 minutes. Okay. So let's see what we got here. Delaney. Oh my God, brother. So sorry. Yeah. Appreciate that. User number 1. Hey man, I appreciate that. Thank you. Delaney sounds like she's a very impressive lady. She is a very impressive lady. Guys, at some point down the road, I will share pictures. She has given me the permission to do so, but I'm not going to do it right now. We spent 48 hours just crying about the situation. It was very devastating. But some point down the road, I'll share the pictures, but we're not going to do that yet. Okay. Bradley, I appreciate that. Hasman. Oh my God. Sorry to hear this, brother. Thank God she has you as a husband. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I recently had this phone call 5 months ago with my mom having a car accident. I almost threw up and fainted because the same year I had to deal with my dad passing away prior to it. Mom is fine, by the way. Shout out to your mom. Man, it's crazy, guys, how strong and resilient women can be. I told Morgan, I was like, if this was me, I'd probably be on the ground right now in a ball somewhere. Like, there's no way that I could deal with what you're dealing with, but these women, they're so strong. They are. My hat is off to you, brother, and my prayers are with you and your wife. I appreciate that. Guys, I want to tell all of you how much I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the thoughts, the prayers. I appreciate you letting me come on here tonight and have this conversation with you and vent and try to weave together what I went through with what I've experienced and what I've learned. I hope that I was able to do that. It might sound a little just disjointed. I'm still trying to recover myself. Okay. But this is important for me to get back on here, for me to make videos and to get back to doing what I want to do, because my wife is adamant. Hey, we're not going to sit here and wallow in sorrow and pity. It's back on the horse. She pushed me to go to jujitsu today, by the way. I didn't want to go. I was finding every reason to not go. Go to jujitsu. Go out there. Do it. So we're going to keep moving. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep doing our thing. Nothing stops. Train keeps moving. And I want to give all praise to God, because he could have let that situation go any direction. And he kept her here with me. And I appreciate that. Okay. All right. Yeah, man. I appreciate that, bro. Yeah, Delaney, we're all family here. I appreciate that. All right. You guys have a great night. I'm going to get a haircut. Y'all be safe. All right.
I'm gonna go ahead. I run it up in the right kind of what? Nigga, shit so fucking hard, yeah. What? Sad,